Welcome. Welcome to the Lamont's Gym and Custom Knives Show, the number 3 podcast. Before I get started, let me say that I send my condolences to the Bush family. We learned yesterday that Kyle Busch passed away. Don't know the cause, and I've heard 3 or 4 reports on the situation. And if I'm not mistaken, he ran in a truck series Sunday or early in the week. Radioed to his crew, said, "Hey, have a doctor on standby." They put him in the hospital, and he never came out. Listen, I'm not that close to NASCAR, even though I live right down the road from Talladega Speedway. I'm not a every Sunday race watcher. I'm not a super fan of NASCAR, so I'm not about to speculate on any of this. I will say that some news I heard yesterday that it may have been an allergic reaction. That some said he had like flu-like symptoms. So you can take that and go in a million different directions. I'm not about to. I do know of Kyle Busch. Watched many races that he did win. At one point, I was a huge, and I mean absolutely huge, race fan. Doing the Dale Earnhardt and I can't remember the guy, his rival, but they used to be rivals. Jeff Gordon, that's him. Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon days. It was it was like basketball. You was either Larry Bird or Michael Jordan fan, or Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan fan, or Boston Celtics, LA Lakers, Chicago Bulls, or Detroit Pistons. It was kind of like that type of rivalry, good clean rivalry in NASCAR, and I loved it back then. Huge Earnhardt fan, huge Earnhardt fan, and I did like Dale Jarrett and many more. Kyle Busch, on the other hand, in my opinion, is what you would call, since my time of watching NASCAR, third generation. So what do I mean by that? So I grew up watching Richard Petty and those cats in the 70s. And, their sons, Dale Earnhardt's son, throughout the 90s. And, Kyle Busch, that's why I consider him third generation. Now, NASCAR goes way back. The racing days go way back to Prohibition. Bootleggers, outrunning the police with liquor, and that's how many of the old school cats, John Ray and Clyde Mays, that's how those guys got their start running moonshine. And it's a black dude. It's a movie made about him. That's how he got his start. So my point to all that is I'm not very close in today's time of a lot of NASCAR stuff. I know it's one guy that I absolutely despise, and I think he races for Michael Jordan's team. He's out of Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. He's the one who doing the BML, the Black Lives Matter days, and the Democratic Socialist takeover of 2020, said that somebody put a noose in his racing stall, which is false, absolutely lies. But see, nobody ever holds these people accountable. He should not be in NASCAR for that, in my opinion. Just like Jesse Smollett should never be in another movie, never another TV show. But we living in a different time, different day. I don't want to, I don't want to spew a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know when it comes to NASCAR. But, rest in peace, Kyle Busch, to his family, to his teammates, his pit crew, his racing team, and NASCAR in general. These guys are close. And I hate to do this, but To tell you how close these guys are, when that idiot, the one who had the news hoax in his stall, came up with this, all of NASCAR gave him like a parade. I can't remember what racetrack. It may have been Talladega. I don't know. They gave him a parade and, escorted him around like he was this or that. And he wasn't nothing but a liar. He wasn't nothing but a left wing propaganda liar. And we got to get away from all that good stuff. But rest in peace, Kyle Busch, 41 years old, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Talked to my wife this morning because I was telling her about that because she don't keep up with sports at all. And, she was telling me that, she's got to fly to Chicago for graduation. They're planning a cruise trip. And she fear, not going into an area that's, full of criminals or anything like that, which she will be in Chicago, but she fears, just being around a whole bunch of people and, germs in the air, this and that. And I said, listen, you can't do that, when you get up and you go to the grocery store, go to work, you're being around a lot of people, and you just can't have that fear. You can't walk around with that fear in your heart. I don't think nobody should walk around with that fear. I still see people driving in their car with the windows up with masks on. And I have to say a prayer for these people because they are mentally ill, or they just have that much fear. My wife is one of them now. She gets a lot of that from her mother, because her mother, during COVID, my God, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but she had at least 300 to 400 cans of Oban spray. I think that's it. Audubon or Oban spray and Lysol. She had at least 50 years worth of masks that I'm still finding in boxes to this day. And just disinfectant face mask. Y'all, and where do you think my mother-in-law got that from? Because she watches a lot of MSNBC and CNN. And that's what they do. They just spew propaganda nonstop. And people like my mother-in-law, who soaks all this stuff in, and it's not just her, it's millions of people, but they soak this stuff in and they become radicalized. They become fearful of everything. It's just sad. Speaking of that, listen, I don't watch CNN, MSNBC. I don't watch none of that garbage. Damn sure don't watch The View. But I had this old lady that said she was a religious watcher of The View, and how the world, how these old biddies are so right about everything. And there was a gentleman, not sure his age or whatever, but it was a gentleman nearby who heard this, and he's like, you have to be an absolute, he was about to say something bad, but he stopped himself, and he said, you have to be radicalized to be a constant participant in programs like The View and MSNBC and CNN, because no matter what your political affiliation is, they don't talk politics. They talk propaganda. They talk radicalized propaganda, and everything they go against everything that is right. And I'm not talking about political right, even though they do. I'm talking about everything that's biblically right. Everything that is a front to Jesus Christ, they're on that side. Everything that's normal, they're against it. And he basically told her, you have to be a radicalized human being to consume that type of content. And I absolutely agree with him. I didn't want to be disrespectful to the lady, even though it was burning up in my heart. It was burning me, because I wanted to say a few things, and he did too, but we didn't go there. But listen, rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Hopefully TMZ and CNN and all these people won't obscure his cause of death and bring fear and panic to the public. Listen, there's a million people who died this morning and yesterday and the day before that, but they concentrate on the high profile situations to give, to make the public fearful. Just stay away from that. But anyway, guys, I listen. I appreciate you and I love you. Just wanted to bring that to light. Rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Condolences to his family. You guys stay blessed. And as always, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I'll see you next time.